Hi everyone, welcome to the second session of Ask Me Anything with Caleedo Digitizing Possibilities. My name is Minimon Yadav, and for today's session we have with us Parikshit Roy, co-founder and director at Caleedo Digitizing Possibilities.
Thank you, Minimon. It's a privilege and it's also a great opportunity to talk on something that we at Caleedo has been working tirelessly for last 4.5 years.
So we have received an overwhelming response from our LinkedIn audience and the followers. So we have shortlisted a few questions that we believe truly will add value and captures the overall essence of today's topic. So to start the discussion for today and to set the context for our audience, I would like to ask you a very fundamental question related to technology, which is, why do you see that technology is forming a major aspect of the digital transformation which is taking place today inside offices, inside workplaces, and inside the built environment industry?
I'm extremely happy that you've asked this question, and it's very, very relevant. And I see that this impact of the technology can be attributed under the three subheads which are creating this change. One is contextual, the second is evolutionary, and the third is the future. The contextual bit of this digitization and digital technology changing the built environment, the workplace, the offices, etc., is largely to be attributed to the impact of COVID and COVID-led transition to different kinds of work formats that organizations have adopted and are still experimenting in certain cases across the world. So that's the contextual part. The second part is evolutionary, and this is where we talk about how technology is changing our human interaction, societal collaboration, the way we interact individually, both at work and outside work. And from that evolutionary standpoint, a large part of our interaction and collaboration, coordination is driven on multiple forms of technology, some which are gaining momentum. So that is the second part of the evolutionary process why technology is relevant. The third part is the future. We see most of these workplaces, the built environment or offices are going to be progressively used by the Gen Zs or the future generation to surround themselves in their wake up period in a day or wake up hours in a day using technology. In a recent study by Deloitte, we have found that more than 80% of people in offices, workplaces, or inside the built environment use more than 4 business apps to interact, and about 20% rest use more than 6 apps, and more than 68% of them are using these kind of digital collaboration tools like meeting room booking, reservations, interactions, collaborations throughout the day. And they seem to be happy, they seem to feel that their productivity, their impact on the business is probably much better than what it used to be. So most C-level leaders across the globe in this survey that I'm referring to, I think about 80% plus, believe that technology investment is going to improve productivity. I would, before I end my answer to this question, I would like to say that what is digital workplace, or what is probably in simple terms and words a digital workplace. Deloitte defines it very interestingly in one of the recent reports, that it is the current and future tools that are strewn together, either strewn together now or would get strewn together going forward, which will help people to collaborate, work, experience, and be more productive in the workplace. So yes, I see a great impact. I see continuing impact, both medium and long term, in how technology is going to transform legacy and current workplaces into more intelligent, smart, and more experiential spaces where people feel happy and people are productive. And I'd add the word which we can delve on a little later, where they feel secure from the health and wellness point of view. So health and wellness is increasingly an area which I think digital technology can play an impact, especially if I may use the term life indoors.
So you have mentioned certain use cases like Gen Zs using technology to book seats, meetings, etc. In your view, what are some other use cases or even technologies that you see will shape the future of digital transformation and the workplaces industry? Also, if you can highlight some key impact points that how these technologies and the modern use cases will impact the traditional way that workplaces and workplace processes gets operated.
Technology use cases typically are, especially the ones which change the way we do things globally, are done at scale. So look at WhatsApp. So WhatsApp was launched in a way initially for personal communication between groups and individuals. But today organizations are also using WhatsApp for their email, for their marketing communication, business use, and the whole application has found its way in adjacent areas, which is more business, especially in the new vertical, than personal. For example, we know that today extended reality, ER, is widely being seen as a impact on metaverse, or the way we currently visualize metaverse, though I think that there's going to be a lot of iterations of metaverse. Now that is the foundation of what we call virtualization. What does this mean? This means that you would create a virtual environment and therefore an extended reality in a more refined use case to see how you are, your workplace, your built environment, traffic, your built environment, space utilization, etc. are happening. Now, does this eliminate the use of CCTV? Probably, in my opinion, they will get merged. So many CCTV feeds which are seen in an isolated platform are going to be incorporated as a part of the virtualization platform that many commercial organizations, offices, shopping malls, etc. would use for better governance, control, management, threat identification, emergency situation management, etc., etc. So this is one use case because it's a much widely talked about. The second part the world is talking about is about sustainability. And around sustainability, each country has created their own compliance framework on sustainable way of doing things. So we are talking about energy efficient buildings, we are talking about net zero buildings, we are talking about how waste recycling is possible, we are talking about biodegradable products, which has an overall impact in the environment. Now, I see technology playing a significant role to facilitate these goals and aspirations that we have. For example, one use case I see is reduction of energy across a precinct. Precinct is largely a section of an area or development. I'm talking largely now about commercial real estate and not the residential real estate, where you could have a virtualized way of seeing how energy consumption is taking place. And compare that with a precinct which could be 5 or 6 or 10 kilometers away, that is it underutilized or overutilized? And based on that, you could, which is being done by the grid management company, auto switch over from a traditional power to a sustainable or a more green power. Now, this is happening in very little pockets as we speak, but a large format impact or adoption is not seen, because I think it's still at a stage of infancy from maturity and even the technology maturity standpoint. We are talking about autonomous vehicles, we are talking about people with aids and chips who could act, who could sense better than we do on our own. We could probably collaborate better. So you could have a band which could tell you as to where your boss is. There are smart grids which will connect multiple developments onto a large infrastructure. We can talk about health and wellness, which is personally very I'm passionate about. That how do people make sure that they look after their health, they look after their well-being while they come to work. Are they breathing the right quality of air? Are they working under the right lighting levels? We could look at all of these aspects in a far more holistic manner, using technology, using IoT, using playbooks and platforms, and using, most importantly, cloud in a judicious manner. So in that way, Minimon, I feel that in this conversation, I will not be able to do justice in telling you what kind of use cases which will evolve. Yet for sure, I see that there's going to be significant transformation, and transformation not led by one company, but multiple companies working in unison to facilitate the future of work.
Now like to discuss about a very important topic from a business point of view, and this is something which I believe gets discussed in every board meeting, which is on the return on investment for the kind of digital technologies that companies look to adopt. So in your view, what kind of return on investment should an organization or a company expect before adopting any digital technology for their workplace or for their employees?
I thought at least this question wouldn't come in this conversation, because it's a very frequently asked question in the boardroom, as you rightly said, in negotiation discussions, in procurement conversation between a vendor or a service provider or an organization trying to move to the digitization runway that they plan to have in their infrastructure. There isn't a one size fits all answer. The return of investment would be a function of the nature of digital intervention and application that the organization is planning to invest in. It would depend on the size of the organization. It would depend on the level of maturity and the technology adoption scale where they are on a 0 to 10. That also to a large extent determines the return of investments. Investment return on any technology application is to be seen with two different lenses. The first one is tangible. which you can dollarize. You could really say that this helped me save a certain amount of my operating cost over a period of time. The second is intangible. Now, some of these intangibles which we really throw out of the window or typically are not considered very significant has been seen in multiple digital application rollouts globally at scale or even in small pockets in a country or in a region, bearing significant fruits of impact or in the business. I'll talk about a very large project where we were trying to track certain impact on the throughput time in the workplace for a particular activity. The activity was pretty well managed but done manually. Initially there was a huge resistance to change that process because it had been working successfully without any great problems. But when we designed the new process, it clearly showed on the white paper that there were multiple layers of reputations and wasteful controls which were slowing down the process. So the adoption there, the acceptance there by the stakeholders to move to the new process took us a bit of time. But because we were convinced, because the whole process design was done in such a way that it gave a significant process throughput time benefit and therefore dollar. The dollarization part was difficult, but the throughput time came down and therefore it could be dollarized progressively using internal cost indices of cost per person, cost per stakeholder progressively. So there are multiple such cases, but one line which I would end this answer with, that small and medium size, I'm not even talking about mega rollouts, digital application rollouts, which are multiple locations, multiple countries and sometimes across continents, could yield anything between 10 to 15% direct and indirect impact. It could be even more and it could be sometimes a little less depending on the other variables which I mentioned.
So I think, sir, we have discussed on some very interesting topics and themes related to workplaces, workplace digitization and new use cases that are arising in the digital workplaces. But lastly, I would like to conclude this discussion on one key theme which I believe any discussion on digital technology will be incomplete about, which is on cybersecurity risk and the skill gap of employees. So how do you see that companies and organizations are today navigating these challenges related to cybersecurity and employee skill gap when they are adopting or when they are transforming their workplaces by adopting any digital technology?
Let me take this question in two parts. The education and the training part, or readiness of people to use digital technology and therefore be appreciative of how it helps them. And the second part is about the risk, the cyber risks and related matters. So let me first tackle the big elephant in the room, which is the cybersecurity challenges. And this is a real challenge. This is not something that we at Caleedo or other organizations, including the large and the most prominent technology companies of the world, are insulated. Multiple plenary sessions of global leaders, cybersecurity has featured prominently. So it's not India's response to cybersecurity, though we have led in recent times on multiple technology frameworks like Aadhaar or Jan Seva, which probably has revolutionized how social impact of digital technology can work at scale in a country of our size and complexity. So India has a framework, but it's more important to know that today, with boundaryless technology adoption, let's say for example, your technology is working in India, in Middle East, in Asia Pacific region, or in Europe, you are actually working on multiple territories who have different norms and standards. And if I dwell a bit on the technology, that some of your applications are now being hosted in the cloud, which resides in the geographical domain in terms of the server applications of a country or a region. So it's a complex problem to handle, but three good things are happening. That there is a linearity and alignment of the fact that countries are working to crystallize some basic standard protocols about cyber security, especially around cloud applications as well as on-prem applications. And the digital service providers, ISPs, are playing their role in this space. So how are we really protected right now? So there are few initiatives. Why I'm talking now, kind of rewinding back to India. So there are far greater enforceable cyber laws as we speak. There are significant amount of cyber security standards which large organizations and service providers are offering as a part of their solution. And last but not the least, every organization is working on certain basic standards of cyber security when they design their products. It's a work in progress, but I think there is greater awareness and commitment by the product companies, and there's also heightened expectation from the end users and enterprises of what they want. I think with this environment, I see that while we may not be able to eliminate everything, but there would be significant traction, momentum, and groundbreaking initiatives happening in the next 24 months. Before I switch to the other side of your question on digital training and digital knowledge, I would like to say that on cyber security standards, cyber risks that arise, there's also behavioral change that we need to have. While as a product company, we try to inculcate, enterprises, many large and even medium-sized companies have their own standards, but there's a lot to be done. But at the end of the user, the people who use these technology, from the enterprise or the recipients of the service, which also is delivered on a digital platform, the stakeholders of the digital ecosystem must be responsible in making sure that they are not doing something which is weakening this whole cyber security framework. So, few points. Today, convergence of most technology happens in form of an app on a mobile phone. Are you downloading suspicious or unwarranted applications which are not rated secure? Because if you are prone to be cyber attacked, or there's a high degree of cyber threat on your application, on your phone, and which may undermine the security for many users of that application in your community. So these are kind of behavioral changes that we need to see. And it's a collective effort. The government, which I call the state initiative, a global framework initiative by the large technology giants, and also by the end users and the companies which are building this product. But clearly, at Caleedo, for us, this is a significantly important aspect on which we are working every day to make our products secure, our frameworks more secure, that we make sure that to an extent physically possible in today's context, our products are secure. So we have made sure that certain compliance standards are adhered to, certain frameworks that are global in nature.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your views on these interesting questions which were given by our audience. I think with this, we would like to conclude our second session on Ask Me Anything with Caleedo. I would like to request our audience to stay tuned with us for many such sessions with industry leaders and veterans on many interesting topics and trends from the industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minimon, for this exciting session. I think we talked about multiple aspects of the workplace digitization roadmap, the industry as such, and certain very, very important questions that are buffeting us at regular intervals, not only at Caleedo but for the larger community. I think I'll request the audience that keep asking us your thoughts, sharing your thoughts and asking what you want to hear from us, and we'll come back with many more interesting sessions in the days and months to come. Thank you again.